Hello, this is Dr. Fred Garcia, speaking once again on the topic of quantum healing and quantum physics, and utilizing the understanding of quantum physics, which was discovered and proven almost 100 years ago, but has not been assimilated into everyday practice of living, and especially in health and healing. And what I am trying to do is to use the principles of quantum physics, which are the principles of true reality and the true nature of matter. Unfortunately, and the Hindus say it all. They say that most people live in Maya, or an illusion, and they're right. And today what we're going to do, and if you've gone through my previous lecture, it talks about how to heal yourself progressively from the physical, the emotional, to the mental. And today we're going to get a little bit into the spiritual. I haven't talked about the spiritual before, but once you approach oneness with academics and cultural insight and information, spirituality, they all come together. Because the same treatments that were used in a spiritual sense for enlightenment also heal the body and the mind. And today we're going to be talking about quantum physics, the true nature of matter and reality, and it reveals the truths and the lies of Western civilization. Today we'll just talk about Western civilization, because Western civilization is where I live, and it has taken over the world for the last 300 years. I guess ever since the British Empire, it's been a Western world. Well, for good or for worse. We're not going to get into the politics of it all today. But, right now, we're not doing so hot. You know, we have wars, starvation, epidemics, and everything. So, using quantum physics, we want to focus on the truth and the untruth. Lies. Okay, some of the greatest leaders of Western civilization led us in the wrong path. And I will explain that, and then I will also verify the leaders and the sages of the past that were right on. Here we go. Let's start off with Darwin. Darwin and his theory of evolution and natural selection, where we all evolved. And it was due to random mutations in our genes, giving us advantages to increase our procreation and have more progeny, more children, and therefore propagate our gene line. Well, that was Darwin's theory. Okay? Origin of the species. Well, before Darwin, there was another biologist named Lamarck, and he believed that the environment influenced the genetic code to change. Well, we've all accepted Darwin, evolution. Well, it turns out the latest research tells us that Lamarck may be equally as right. Here we go. Example. Well, I'm saying right now that, and there is a science now called epigenetics, where the environment influences the genetic expression. I've talked about this before, and the genetic expression can be anywhere from good to medium to bad. So it all depends on what genes are being expressed. And a good lifestyle is the best way to get the best genes expressed. And I talked about that. But now, genetic expression. Now, it turns out that the environment can be just as much of a stimulus to genetic change as random mutation. Example, agouti mice. These are fat little mice that are bred special for this obesity gene. They're fat and they're, I forget the color, but they're like little fur balls. Agouti, A-G-O-U-R-I. Anyway, what they found that by giving the mother during pregnancy high-dose vitamin B vitamins, that they know precisely how it works. It increases a methyl group on the genetic code. The mice no longer became fat little butterballs. They became normal mice. So, what does that tell us? That we change the gene by adding just a vitamin. Well, that's astounding. So that opens the door. What else can change genes to express themselves differently? Well, that opened up the Pandora's box. Well, it turns out that our entire environment, what we eat, not only what we eat, what we do, exercise, etc., but, and this is my latest research, our thoughts are probably the most important aspect determining our genetic expression, our thoughts. And that's why I have created this new specialty of medicine called mind medicine, because our thoughts can be controlled by the mind. And once you're able to reprogram the mind, you can heal yourself and change your reality. But that's not the topic of today's talk. Today's topic is revealing the truths and the lies as revealed by quantum physics. Okay, we've already realized that Darwin led us astray, and next was Watson and Crick with the DNA. Okay, when they came up with DNA, it programs, has all the programming for a patient's, an individual's body. True, the DNA. But because of that, people believe, well, my genes tell me I'm going to be fat, I'm going to be stupid, I'm going to be this. Well, wrong. The DNA can be changed, and we just talked about the agouti mice and vitamins. So, like I've always said in all my lectures, number one is good diet. And you go to my lectures and you know what the good diet is. Number one. Okay? And now we know that our mental thoughts affect our genetic expression, as well as all the other aspects of our environment, both internal and external. So we have control. We have the genes come from our mother, father, grandparents, but how they express themselves is up to us. And the easy stuff is, the diet and the exercise, and the periodic breathing and emotional, and then that's the easy part. And also, I am developing a specific protocol and technique to reprogram the mind to send messages to the brain, which again is a meat computer, runs the body, that's going to, first of all, eliminate some of the basic problems that evolution has left us in. We evolved not to be happy, but to survive, which keeps us uptight, and so we need, and this, I will talk about this a little bit later, how this anxiety, chronic anxiety, evolutionarily evolved, how it is the major cause of disease and unhappiness today. But there is a way out using mind medicine, and we will talk about that shortly. But right now, let's go back to the liars. We already found out that Darwin led us astray. Watson and Crick with their DNA. It does not control everything. We have control by manipulating our environment and also our mind. Okay, now let's move on to the biggie. Sir Isaac Newton in his Principia, 1687. And everyone took that as gospel, and no one, in fact, he never proved his basic equation, F equals ma. He never proved it. Just because he was Isaac Newton, they accepted it. But it eventually got proved. So, that's why, okay, so that's Isaac Newton. Well, he as well as Descartes, the French philosopher, also led us astray. Because they conceptualize the world as humans as being independent and exempt from it. Where the world was happening, it was a machine that followed certain principles, natural principles, which Newton delineated in his Principia, 1687. The laws of motion. And they worked in this reality. But again, remember the Hindus. We live in Maya. We live in a false reality. And remember the concepts of quantum physics. They tell us the principles of quantum physics are that everything is connected, and reality changes from split second to split second, and reality is basically energy. Period. And this whole concept of self is an illusion, because in reality we share a universal consciousness. And so the self is really awareness. And I talk about that in other lectures. Okay, moving on. So we got rid of Darwin, we got rid of Crick, and we got rid of Sir Isaac Newton, because we are not different from our environment. And there is absolute proof, and you can look up Jan, Janhn, and okay, and his partner. They have had research showing that our minds have influence on random events generators. That means machines that flip coins, heads and tails. Our minds can influence those machines. We influence all aspects of living organisms. Yeast, bacteria, viruses. In humans, we are we are the only civilization that does not believe we are connected with everything. The Chinese believe in the connection with the chi, the Indians with the prana, Aristotle, the plenum, Socrates, the ether. Okay, and we're all connected with this web. Everybody believes it. And what's amazing is, even though Western man got much of his science, philosophy, and medicine from the Greek tradition, we missed the basics that they were saying, that we're all connected. And there is a plenum, according to Aristotle. So we missed that. And we went along with Sir Isaac Newton and the Principia, and also Descartes, and his I think, therefore I am. Well, here is the flip side of that. According to quantum physics, when you perceive the observer effect, you collapse the wave and you create reality. And so, actually, Descartes, even though his primary concept was incorrect, in actuality he was correct, because when he thought, he created a new reality. So I think, therefore I am, in my own little world. Moving on. Okay, so we got rid of Darwin, Watson, Crick, Newton, Descartes. Next we go for Einstein. Well, Einstein was totally overrated. Okay, right off the bat. E equals mc squared. Well, here's the latest. Energy equals energy. E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass. Well, now with quantum physics we know that there is no mass. It's all energy. So Einstein's greatest equation in history, energy equals energy. One equals one. Yippee. Also, he screwed up when he said the speed of light was 186,000 miles per second. Wrong. The concepts of quantum physics, which were known at that time, he didn't understand them and he didn't believe in them. Einstein. He and also Newton thought empty space was empty. It's not. It's loaded with energy and also has all the information there was. It's called the 0-point field, and a subset of that is the quantum field, which I believe as humans we interact with, and it's all in my videos and my websites. Go to it. So moving on, we've gotten rid of, now latest we got rid of Einstein. He didn't realize that empty space was not empty. His equation was bunkus. It's equivalent to E equals E, energy equals energy. Yippee. Anyway, also, where else did he? There are some other areas that he missed. He missed totally on the concept of quantum physics and the principle of non-locality and entanglement, which is the basic principle of life, entanglement. We are all entangled, we are all connected. And then the greatest mind of all time, Nikola Tesla. Oh, I'm going to get to him in a little while. Because there were the truth sayers and then there were the liars. Right now we're in the liars. But I'll get back to Nicholas, my superhero. Anyway, now we got rid of Einstein. Who else do we go after that? Newton, Darwin, Crick, Okay, and then religion in general, because it perverts the true spiritual message. Religion in general. And I have not injected spirituality into my talks previously, but today I have no choice, because we're getting to the basics of truth and what is true and what is not. Then you have to bring in elements of spirituality, and in the end, when you arrive at oneness, which is our destiny, there is no difference between academics and spirituality. It's just the academics evolves until it discovers that spirituality was correct. And now we're going to move on to the good guys, the truth tellers. Okay, let's start off with the Greek, Aristotle. Okay, well, and Hippocrates. I love Hippocrates, because I'm a doctor. He was the first doctor. And some of his basics have been totally corrupted. In the Hippocratic Oath, it states, first, underline, first.
1 minute, let's start it over. Take over.